Welcome in this last example of our project Arbogast. And in this example, I will combine the effect of a schedule delay and a cost overrun. So we're going to look at the three elements related to the projects, which are schedule and cost. We look at the schedule increase of 6 months, like we did before, but without a cost increase. And now we also have the cost increase of 50K. We have an overview of the financial parameters, and of course, like in the other videos, I will draw a conclusion about this project. So let's have a look at the project where we have a schedule increase of 6 months and a cost increase of 50K. Here we combine the two effects that we've seen before, and we're going to investigate what is the effect of those two elements at the same time, where we have a budget increase from 250 to 300K and a reduction of the time to recuperate the investment, and it's reduced by 6 months. We already know from the previous example that the effect of the schedule delay did not have such a big impact on the project, but the higher impact was in fact because of the cost overrun. So we're going to see how do these two parameters in this case will affect the final outcome. We look at the overview of the financial parameters. We have the same table, but now we have the investment, which is 300K, and the last period, so we have half year less to recuperate the total amount. And we see that the payback time increases a little bit compared to the previous case where we looked at only the cost increase. Now we have 6.2 years that we have here because the initial investment, it's of course higher. The original case, what we basically started the project with gave us a payback time of 5 years. The net present value in this case is more disastrous, because in the previous cases, even if it was a small positive net present value, here we're really going to a negative present value. And that's a very important effect that we must integrate in our evaluations. And we know that a project which makes a profit should not continue. The internal rate of return is also just below the 8%, which could still be acceptable, but we have a negative net present value, so we have to eventually look at how can we make the project successful again, or we may even decide that we're going to kill the project. It depends on the status, it depends on the information. So here may be a very interesting discussion between the different people who are involved in the project. So the conclusion that we can draw here, we see that the combination of the two parameters have an important impact on the ROI policy. We see that the new payback time is larger than the accepted 5 years. We have a net present value which is negative, which is also a very important parameter, and it's rather a big difference in this case. The internal rate of return is slightly smaller than the 8% that we evaluated, but we're far away from the 13.7% that we originally estimated. When we look at the two effects separately, we did not really get outside of the policy parameters, but in this case, the project outcome is a failure. The result will be a loss, and the project manager and the sponsor must decide how to deal with the situation. You must understand that the cost that we already invested, which we call the sunk cost, can never be recuperated. So if we decide to go to a different project, we have to calculate in that sunk cost as a loss because we didn't realize anything. It may not be completely true because every project may have some positive outcomes that could be used later on. And it's also very important to evaluate how this result fits into a program or in our portfolio. Maybe that even working at a loss, this project as a standalone may not be a good project, but as a part of a system, it may still contribute to the profit of the organization or the program. So these are things that must be considered depending in which situation you are. So that was it for the combined effect of a delay and a cost overrun. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next videos. Bye bye.